because that's where I get most of my stuff off Amazon. There's also a local retro game place I go to. They're usually a bit more expensive, but not unreasonable. Like, they try and keep up with what is and isn't a good price game. Next to that, though, probably the most expensive stuff I buy were like the game Resident Evil 2 and Code Veronica. I don't remember how much 3 was. 2 was $30. Code Veronica was $30. But there was a point where those things were fluctuating to where I'm like, oh man, when's it gonna be cheaper? And then I realized it's never gonna change price. You might as well just buy it. So those are another 2 that come to mind that were kind of pricey. The Mario Party trilogy, the Mario Party games, those are all like, I mean, I guess I count it as expensive because I'm a cheap ass, but those are all along the lines of like $30-ish. So I got Mario Party 4 recently, and that was like $30, and then I think I was looking at 6, that was like $35. But the idea is this is still half the price of a modern game, so I still don't think it's bad. Like, unless you're buying, what was it, Little Samson, there you go. That game's like a few $1,000s. Then I don't really think you can be complaining about game prices. And I also don't understand, because I've never lived this. People are like, oh man, I wish I had that game. And it's like, why'd you get rid of it though? Like, now granted, I didn't grow up with things like Pokemon Silver, so I never had this game as a kid. And obviously I did have things like Stadium, but I also had a brother who lives in an entirely different state. So when it came time for he and I to move to different ends of the country, we divvied up who got what games. So I took the stuff I knew he wasn't gonna play and that I played the most, and we decided, yeah, you can have that one, I'll take this one. But the idea is, majority of the stuff we've had for 20 years. My copy of World's Not Enough that I still have sitting on my shelf that I'm pointing at, which you cannot see, I've had that same cartridge since 2003. So, like, I don't get it. Like, I've never, I guess it makes me sound spoiled, but like, I'm not rich, dude. I've never been fucking rich. Like, I've never been at a point where it's like, hey, I have to sell things to go ahead and afford to live or to buy something. Like, I've never felt that's a need. Now, I know sometimes that's not inherently a need. Some people do it because they just want to get new stuff, but like, to me, that's not worth it. Why should I sell 20 games at $5 a piece to buy one game that's worth like $60? Like, that's not a worthwhile trade to me. I'd rather have a bunch of cheap shit than something expensive. Because, like, quantity, I guess. Because it's not even quality, because this right here is good quality, and guess what? The fucking good quality it's playing off of is $20. However, the one thing about old games like this, cartridge-based games, is internal batteries. So a lot of the times when you look up, I remember it being an issue, everyone's like, yeah, the internal battery's dead, which they say that has something to do with the clock, but I want to say in particular it's usually things like saving. So my childhood copy of Ocarina of Time, my brother has that one. He got that, and I bought my own copy of Ocarina of Time, which is uncensored. So, complete with Muslim chanting, blood, and so on. But that thing's internal battery died and kept deleting save data, so I had to take it to that retro store and they could replace the battery for me. Because, in other words, it wasn't possible to keep save data on it. At the time, I was considering the fact that maybe it was the Game Shark deleting the data, but it didn't quite make sense to me for that to continue happening. Let me take a drink real quick. I don't really need to be using hypnosis still, but it helps. What I need is some fucking water. I just finished off my Dr. Pepper. Do this. Oh, looks like I got turbo on. Yep, my water's empty, my Dr. Pepper's gone. I'm all out. Because I caught myself, like, getting that dry throat there. Oof, what a sentence. But, yeah. Thanks for telling me. I got a text saying, the cat's hungry. Yeah, I know. You know what? 1 second. Okay, back at it. We were talking about retro games, but I also want to say that if there was at all any echo, I apologize, because the headphones I wear are soundproof, so I had no idea the TV was as loud as it was. So I hope there is no echo, but based on recordings with GoldenEye, there wasn't any echoes, like, at all, so I'm sure it's fine, but just in case, I do try and keep the volume low just to avoid it even then. What else were we talking about when it came to retro stuff? Yeah, no, I've never had to sell stuff off. So it just blows my mind when people and then people will say stuff like, I miss it, and it's like, well, what's stopping you from going out and buying it? Like, I'll give you a fucking link. Do you want to buy? In particular, I get it all the time with, like, Shrek Super Slam, because people are like, oh, I miss this game. I'm like, here. It's on Amazon for $2. And if you own a PlayStation 2, everything that exists is literally a penny. You just pay shipping and handling, and that's all you're fucking paying for at that point. Everything on the PS2 is dirt cheap. Like, if I wanted to, I could have gotten Code Veronica on the PS2 for literally a penny, but I decided I wanted it on GameCube because I'm more comfortable with the GameCube controls than... Oh my gosh. There's also the idea that, oh my god! Fucking... If I can finish my sentence. There's also the idea that the PS2 does not support S-Video as to where the GameCube... Oh my god, I can't steer sense! You know, once I put in that cheat for infinite money, I'm not going to feel bad because I can buy all the repels in the world because, good god, this is horrendous. I've also gotten to the point where I don't even care about wild encounters anymore. Like, I've run into Geodudes and Onyxes and stuff, but it's like, I'm not even fighting them, so I don't really care enough to even bother showing them off. And then we're finally in a fight that's actually worth showing, I can say it. The PS2 doesn't have S-Video while the GameCube does, so for the sake of getting it and recording it in a better quality, I also wanted to get on the GameCube as well, so... Yeah. And I kind of view the PS2 in general as like... Oh man, get this game for PS2, and I'm like, but why, when I can play it on any other console? Like, there's a whole bunch of cool PS2 games that I own on the GameCube. So I've considered that if I ever made like a top 10 PS2 games, it would basically just be a bunch of games that are on it'll be like, hey, here's Nightfire. Nightfire's pretty good. You know? Hey, look, Tony Hawk's American Wasteland. Remember that from my GameCube top 10? Like, that would pretty much be it. You know, I should probably switch out, considering I'm gonna die of a burn faster than I'll kill this Vulpix. Hopefully we can, handle it. We should be alright. Worst case scenario, we pull out, like, a poison powder or something, but I don't even know how well that's gonna do. Turbo. Oh, we got quick attacked. I mean, I'm hoping the level difference is enough to be able to make it worthwhile. But yeah, I just don't understand how people can act so uneducated about it. To the point where it's like, the past is over with. Yeah, we got our first evolution, so I figured I'd shut up for that. But like, just because it's the past does not mean it's gone and over with. I hate to say it, but I think if more people kept their stuff, there probably wouldn't be nostalgia anymore, because you could just be like, oh, look at me turn on this game that I've been itching to play. You know? We're almost there, right? Yeah, basically. Do we have any magic things? No. Alright, well, I'm gonna go to this Pokemon Center real quick, and then I'll go back and fight you, and then we will call it a day. It's unsafe to go in there, so I'm standing guard. Aren't I a good Samaritan? Absolutely. You are the best person ever. Which also, because I have not said it yet, this game is that's a mart. A direct, fuck it, we got stuff to sell. A direct sequel to the original Red and Blue set, like, I think 3 years after. Charcoal is pretty good. Repels, we want 10! And I want to specify that because like the rest of them they're like, yeah, it's based after this, but with like no discrete time difference, and it kind of doesn't matter. What was it, 3 potions? So, we needed about 3 potions. Let me go back. How much Pokeballs we got? Okay, so 3 of 3. As to where this one actually has kind of like a sequel feeling to it. So you'll get hints of things that happened in Red that are noteworthy. So that's pretty cool. In other words, I guess I'm done ranting about retro games. I don't know. I don't understand it, but I feel like I'm the only sane person around. So that could be it too. Like, the only games I ever sell or don't keep or get rid of are bad games. There was a guy who gave me his PS2 with a bunch of games, but, like, all he had was, like, Catwoman, The Scorpion King. Like, he had 2 good games. And that was, Mortal Kombat Armageddon. Actually, I don't remember if he had Armageddon or I think he had Shaolin Monks, and I think I bought Armageddon myself. I don't remember. But I have those 2. And then the other one was Pro Skater 4. But I'm going to be honest with you, I say Pro Skater 4 is super, super awkward because they try and, like, it's that teenage phase between the Pro Skater series and then where it turns into Underground and American Wasteland. So they have this open world where it's like, yeah, skate around and get missions instead of just doing the whole classic thing that the first 3 games did. But the problem is you're glued to your board, so you're trying to awkwardly skate around getting these missions while you're unable to go up things like stairs, and that complicates it a lot. So as a result, I just didn't really have the patience for it, as to where in Underground and American Wasteland you can get off your board and then walk to the missions instead of bopping on every single wall and getting complicated by stairs all the damn time. I'm about to fucking die. So, to save myself from dying, we're just going to switch over, because I want him to get the experience. But yeah, that was my complaint with Pro Skater 4, so as a result, I got rid of that. And honestly, I just think it's like... The thing about going back after a newer installment is that you realize the flaws with the older ones. So, it's kind of hard to play American Wasteland and then go back to Pro Skater 4 and be like, can I enjoy this? Because the short answer is no, not really. Because it's just missing those features. So you have to kind of go in there and just expect it, but it's just, in terms of gameplay, it's hard. It's not so bad to be like, for instance, go back and play Red and be like, oh, there's no gender, because that's not a big deal. That's just a strategical difference. There's no steel type. That's not so much of a hindrance. But in the case of something like, I guess, Rap or Fire Spin, where that's a gameplay difference, that can be a problem that can put someone off and, you know, really make you not enjoy the game. Which, there's truth to that, because Erica fucking sucks in the original Red, as where she's not so bad in Fire Red. Because all she does in the original Red is just rap over and over and over again, and because of the way rap works in Gen 1, it's terrible to try and sit there and deal with. But that's kind of my thing. So usually when I play games, I try and play them in order so this way I can appreciate it for what it is at first, and then when I get to the next one, I'm like, okay, cool, they improved on this, instead of starting with like number 3 and then going back to 1 and be like, oh, I missed that. I guess kind of like what I did with Sonic, because technically the first Sonic I played was Advance, so going back to Sonic 1 was just so fucking painful, because it's like, where are these features? As for if I had never, which honestly, I still think I probably would have disliked it anyway, just because there was a lot of times where you weren't able to get the momentum you needed. Like for those loop-de-loops and for those little uphill things, it's like, it's clear that you need to go fast, but there's no instantaneous way to make you go fast. And it sucked. But other than that, we're gonna always piss off people about Sonic. Anyway, I think it's late enough to the point where I should call it quits for the night. And then next time we start, we will explore Olivine City, which is where we currently are. So I will see you guys later. I appreciate you. I will figure out how I want to... honestly, I kind of want to record more at a different point and edit later. But I will figure out how I want to set things up and do it like that. So hopefully improvements on the way. See you guys later. It's JC4R.